Welcome to part 7, where we're going to rig the soccer ball. In order to create an animation of the ball bouncing, you will start by building a simple rig that will make it easier to keyframe. This will involve setting up null objects so you can work interactively in the viewport, and adding some nodes to the geometry network to accommodate the ball's rotation and also the squash and stretch. So the first thing we want to do is go back to the build desktop, and we want instead of the stage, we want OBJ to be there. So we're going to go back here and do some work here before we take it back for rendering. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this soccer ball here and we're going to alt drag to make a copy of it. So that's the geo, and we're going to call this anim, soccer ball anim. And we're going to hide this one and focus on this. Now we're going to dive into here, and sort of like we did there, we're going to go and tab a match size and justify Y to minimum, and that will put that on the ground. So this time we're going to actually do it here at the geometry level rather than at the object level. Okay, let's go back to the object level. So one of the options here is a null object. We're going to select that and place that at the origin. Now it's on its miscellaneous tab. You can set its display. So we're going to get the control type to circles and the orientation to XZ. And we're going to set the scale to 4. That creates a nice little circular control that we're going to have there. And in the network editor, you're going to put the soccer ball here. We're going to put the null here. And we're going to call this the soccer ball control. And we're going to parent the two together. So essentially what that means is if I move this, the soccer ball moves with it. And that's our goal. Now, to make sure we don't accidentally select while we're in here, so we don't accidentally select that and move that, you can actually turn off the display option there. So now when I'm in the viewport, I can't select that at all. I can only select. So we're going to go to the soccer ball control here, and we're going to go back to the transform tab. We're going to go right-click on Translate X, and we're going to go Copy Parameter. And we're going to use that to create some roll for the ball. So we're going to dive into here. And right in here, we're going to go Transform and place a transform node just before the match size. So we need to do it before the match size so that it rotates before it's positioned up at the ground. And we're going to go to Rotate Z, and we're going to go Paste Relative References. And so now, if we were to go up here and we were to grab the control, and we were to say, okay, we want to move it here, there is a relationship now between those. Now it's imperceptible at this point, but there is a relationship there. So what you want to do is you want to go to this transform, and let's modify this parameter. Oh, it wasn't working. It wasn't working because there was a 0 there. Let's get rid of that 0. Now if we go up and we grab that and we say let's move this, you'll see that there's a little bit of rotation, but it's hard. It's imperceptible. So what we want to do is we want to change this expression, and we're going to put it in the negative direction, and then we're going to multiply this by 360 divided by brackets 2 times, and we can actually go $pi and then times 1.1, which is the radius of this object. Put that in a bracket and go. So if we go back to the object level, and we select this. Now when we move this, you'll see that we've actually got the ball rolling in relation to that movement. So we've created a relationship through an expression to the rotation down at the geometry level to the movement here at the object level. So then undo when you finish. Now in addition to that rolling, we also want to do some squash and stretch. So let's create another null object, place that here, and we're going to call this the squash control. And we're going to go to miscellaneous. We're going to do the control type to a box, and we're going to do display to 0.2. Okay. Now if we go to transform, okay, so let's make sure that this should be at 0. Okay, so we place that at 0. Now we want to move this up. Oh, we're going to take this squash control and we're going to move it up above the ball. And here we're going to do modify pre-transforms. We're going to go clean translates. So we want this to be the origin or the starting point of this as opposed to down there. So we've got some pre-transforms in there. So now we're going to parent this to this so that as this moves forward, the other one moves with it. So that's important. Now we're going to go to this, and we're going to take the translate Y, and we're going to right click on here and say copy parameter. We're then going to go into the Soccerball, and we're going to add a bend node right here. So bend goes right here. And let's go to 4 views, and let's go to one of these sides. So we're going to go B there. So when we do the bend node, let's go to the handle tool. There are options here for controlling this. So what we want to do is up here we're going to turn off this limit, and then we're going to set the camera thing, and then we're going to go, let's turn on grid snap, and we're going to go from here to there, and that resets where the orientation and everything related to this bend, squash, and stretch. So we should see a direction of 0, 1, 0 and a capture length of 2.2. Now if we turn on length scale and preserve volume, we can now click on here and go paste relative references and enter. And that number up there is not helping us. Okay. And then what we want to do is we want to add a +1. So now if we go to the object level and we grab this control here, if we go, okay, we're going to lock the parameters here, and then we're going to lock this and lock this. Okay, so now this is what we want to control. So let's go back into here, and we want to, need to put the display flag back onto here. So now if we go back up to here and we select this, and we say we want to move that, we're now getting the squash and stretch on that ball. So we're able to use the bend to do that. And that's going to help us as we animate along. So let's go spacebar B, so we go back into the 3D view. So now we can turn off secure selection. We can select this and move it here, and we can select this and move it. Oh, you know what? Control Z. We've got this snap on, so that's sort of making things difficult. No, we want to go like this. We don't want any snapping. Now, so this can be set to 0 if we don't want any at all, and this also can be set to 0. Now in the case of translation, we don't really want to go around Y, so we can also lock that parameter, and now we're only working in the two planes, which is where, so we can do this and we can do this, but that's all we need. And if we set this back to 0, tab 0, there we are back at the origin. So now we've got our rig. We can just, let's go to here, and in the next step we're going to actually start animating and keyframing this to give it some motion. So see you there.